Honorable, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News. The Education Ministry, through the spokesperson, is just telling us that it's the program is being set. Students are due to report to school on the 4th. Those who are unable to resume or to report, I should say, will not lose their spot. But it's important that they go to school, which is part of what they do. Do you have any particular? What's your particular concern with that? The speaker wants it rescheduled, but the plan has been set, and it appears rescheduling it will not be the way to go.
Well, let me say good evening to you and to our listeners, because I know your network is listened to in my constituency of Busa South and in Bullock in general. First of all, I was in Parliament yesterday when the ranking member, my boss, sought permission from the Speaker to make an agent statement on what we consider to be a matter of national interest and of agency. It is very clear and simple. I've had the opportunity to listen in on the commentary rendered by the public relations officer of the ministry. Clearly, he's doing his job, so I don't fault him. He has every right to re-emphasize what he has been told to say, given the directive that was issued. Now, the concerns that we raised on the floor of Parliament yesterday are based on the same directive that was issued on the 28th of November, asking that students prepare to report in school on December the 4th, also announcing the fact that placements have been done. If one were to look at that directive issued on the 28th of December itself, you would notice that the directive actually points students and parents who may have challenges with placements to certain venues, and they have been given certain numbers to call and try to get those problems fixed. But the same directive also indicates that over 100,000 students were not placed by the computerized system. What that means is that these category of students would have to do what is called self-placement. So within the context of even the placement itself, there are still I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed, still outstanding. Now, some of the issues that parliamentarians canvassed, and you must recognize that we represent the people. So anytime there are matters that we bring to the floor of Parliament, we do so because Ghanaians and our constituents have drawn our attention to those issues as being crucial and urgent. The issues that came up, among many others, which convinced the Speaker of Parliament to give the instructions that he gave, included the fact that students were going to be reporting on December the 4th, and soon after would have to break again for Christmas, and then go back to school again to continue. We believe that that was not the best in terms of expending time and resources. And make no mistake, the issue of risk cannot be sidelined. The risk involved in traveling from Accra to Nabasco and then back and then going again is much higher than just traveling from Accra to Nabrongo and then staying for an extended period for school to close, for you to return. So that risk is a factor that was considered. The other issue also had to do with the availability and the challenges that parents face in terms of resources. Now, I had the PRO seek to speak about the fact that the harmonized prospectus were put in the public domain for some time, and therefore the expectation was that parents would have prepared. But it is one thing to advertise prospectus, but it is another thing for a parent to know that my ward has passed and my ward has been placed in school A, B, or C, which will then guide the needed resources to be mobilized and to prepare not just the student, but even also the parent. Because we are speaking about students who, for the first time, are going to go to schools outside their usual areas of knowledge and experience. So you cannot expect any parent to simply just buy items and put their ward. I mean, sometimes a 13, 14-year-old on a bus to go to a school located perhaps 100 kilometers from the community that is known to the parent and the student. So the issue of financial resources, especially in the current economy, and the travel needs of the parents who may then even have to apply to take time off work to shepherd their wards to the school also came up. Then there is the issue that the PRO conveniently refused to mention, which is that the teachers themselves and the teacher unions have also had cause to complain with regards to the timing of the reopening and the reporting of first-year students. They have also argued that for a very long time, both teaching and non-teaching staff, and I've said this many times, even including appearing on your show when you host the big issues on Saturdays, many of these teachers and non-teaching staff have not had a break, particularly those in the schools that continue to practice the double track system. So the expectation was that this Christmas break would have served as a period for them to reinvigorate, take some rest, and then prepare. And also even prepare the school in terms of its facilities, fumigation, in readiness to receive the new students. So putting all of these factors together, Parliament was of the strong opinion that although the directive had been given, the minister should reconsider postponing the reopening date to the first week of January 2024 to reduce and, if you like, remove the pressure that this is bringing upon parents, students, and even the teachers. And I believe that it is a reasonable request. It is our hope that the minister would consider the request made by the representatives of the people. We would have hoped that the minister himself was in the House yesterday. But as you know, because of matters related to the budget and, the fact that the budget was not approved, it is our belief that members of the majority side in protest chose not to come to Parliament for only their leaders to appear. So we didn't have the opportunity of having the minister himself present. But the Speaker, in his commentary, had indicated that other avenues would be used to try and get the attention of the Speaker, and that the decision of Parliament would also be publicized with the hope that the publication would catch the attention of the minister as he's being invited on Monday to brief the House on this matter and the way forward, but to also then ginger perhaps an immediate, postponement of the date announced. So we wait to see whether the minister is going to respond in kind or he would stick by the date he has announced, and then we would get to hear from him the justification he will have to proffer to the August House on Monday.
I see. You mentioned the issue about finding resources. I mean, to take the children to school and to keep them there. But the ministry's view is that you don't have a problem with that because there's free SHS and food and other things, are already catered for. So that really shouldn't be a problem. So if it's about feeding and resources to keep them in school, that has already been sorted by government.
Well, that is not true. First of all, when the PRO spoke about the supply of textbooks, what he failed to say was that the government has only taken the responsibility of providing core textbooks. So the elective textbooks are procured by parents. And usually the elective subjects are more than the core subjects. As a member of the Education Committee and as a member of the Public Accounts Committee, I can tell you that even within the context of government supplying the core textbooks, there are challenges. The core textbooks are not being supplied the way that we are being told, where every student gets a core textbook depending on your level. We know that older students who had access to some of those core textbooks have graduated and taken those textbooks away. And those textbooks are no longer available in the schools, which then makes it difficult for newer, younger students to get access to the textbooks.
But if they graduate and take the books away when they are not supposed to do so, that's a failing of the school, because we've all been to school. Before you go through what we call the clearance.
Yeah,
so the clearance, before you are cleared, the school must make sure that you do not have, any school property with you. In this case, like a textbook, so that the next batch could also use it. So if this happens, I'm not sure if it's across the board, but that'll be the failing of the school.
The point I'm making is that it is not all rosy. It's the point I'm making. Whether it is the responsibility of the school to ensure that the textbooks are not taken away or not, clearly does not ameliorate the challenges that the new students are going to face. Is the point I'm making. So the books are not there. They are not there for use by the new students. And the point I also made was that government only provides core textbooks. The elective textbooks are procured by parents. So when the PRO seeks to suggest that cost on the parents has been lessened and mentions textbook, it is important to indicate that that is a bit disingenuous. He ought to have completed the entire narrative. Again, there are other challenges. You cannot assume that because you have a harmonized prospectus and you claim that, unlike previously, where certain schools gave prospectus that will require parents to expend in excess of 4,000, 5,000, if that has been harmonized, and you are suggesting that perhaps 300 or 400 will be sufficient, every parent has the capacity to be able to raise 300 in this short period of time to send their work to school. I have parents in my constituency whose annual disposable income is not even 100 Ghana cedis. I know that for a fact as a member of parliament. And given the current economic conditions, we cannot take for granted the challenges that parents will face. Also factoring in the season in which we are. And you mentioned about food. Food continues to be a challenge. We know that there have been challenges in terms of the quantity and quality of food. We know of instances where certain schools have been supplied expired food items, others have been given only one staple food, and we know of stories where old boys and girls and sometimes parents have had to move in to try and supplement, and in many instances even pay for persons living in the jurisdiction where their wards go to school to cook meals to feed them. All of these are factors that we can debate, but we cannot overlook the challenges and the pressure that parents are facing given the time that has been indicated as the reporting and resumption date for our wards to go to school.
Very well. I'm grateful for your time. We'll see how Monday looks like, or how things happen on Monday on both the Parliament's front and the school's front. But I've also come across some message that you authored. You titled it "The Agony of Rice Farmers in the Bosa South Constituency," and the gravamen of it is that there is a lot of rice that some people failed. Who originally contracted the farmers to package or produce and package for them, and this hasn't happened, or this for some reason the buyers have not been able to pay for them or come for them, and so the rice, as we have it, is lying there and may go bad, and that the farmers need money to go about their daily business and do other things, and that you are calling on people to come to the aid of those farmers and buy those bags of rice from them. What really is the situation, and how bad is it?
Well, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to now speak to a matter that is of great concern to me as a member of parliament and to rice farmers in the Busa South district or constituency. As many listeners would know, Busa South has some of the biggest rice valleys in the country. I think one of the most recognized is the Bedembilisi Rice Valley. In fact, it was only yesterday that the chief of Bedembilisi, who himself is a rice farmer, called to bring my attention to the matter that we are discussing. He made me aware of a company known as Fine Line, which had engaged in many other farmers in the Bedembilisi Rice Valley, as well as other rice valleys in Busa South. The agreement was that the company would buy the rice when it matures and is harvested. And of course, these companies usually have specifications in terms of the quality of the rice. The agreement was very specific in terms of the quality and the quantity that they expected the farmers to produce. Based on that, the company actually went on to give them branded sacks to bag the rice, which they have done. Unfortunately, the company is yet to meet its obligation to them. And so they have harvested, bagged the rice, and the rice is in the open, and some of the rice bags have deteriorated. The rice is peeling. The rice is left to the mercy of the weather, as well as criminal elements. And this has created a lot of trauma and agony, because you must remember that the challenges that farmers had to endure in terms of, the high cost of input, getting tractors to plow, getting the seed, getting pesticides, getting weedicides, engaging labor, getting combine harvesters to harvest, and then to bag the rice with the hope that, the rice will be bought immediately so that they can recoup their investment and then also feed themselves and their families, and then make plans for the next cropping season, is in danger. And so it is not just a problem that should concern me and the farmers who are victims, but it should concern all of us as Ghanaians. I mean, you will reckon that one of the issues that has dominated the public discourse is this legislative instrument that is seeking to limit the importation of certain food items, and rice is one of them. So if we think that it is time that we concentrate on local production of food items that we have the comparative advantage of, including rice, and yet at the same time, rice farmers have produced rice and they are not getting buyers, and the state is not also making an effort to try and intervene to salvage this rather precarious situation. How are we going to continue encouraging people and young men and women in particular to take up farming as a lucrative economic venture? It is definitely going to have an impact on our food security if these many bags of rice go waste. It is also going to discourage the farmers from increasing their acreage, and those who may have gone to banks and other financial institutions to take loans to finance their investment to produce this rice that is looking as though it is going to go waste, would be at a loss and would never even engage in farming at the end of the day.
Very well.
I think that is not well as far as the future of this nation is concerned. Government can also intervene. There is no reason why the buffer stock food company cannot go and buy this rice, mail it, and distribute to our secondary schools, which are set to reopen.
Very well. Thanks so much. We hope that your efforts to get them buyers, to maybe perhaps engaging with the buffer stock, etc., to ensure that these bags of rice are bought will see the light of day. Thanks so much, Clement Apaak.